What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we have some information right now in regards to the next upcoming Kizuna Clash Sugo Fest. So we have new jewelry BONNEY debuting for the first time here, with a brand new rare recruit Vegapunk. Now look, it's just a Kizuna Clash Sugo Fest, nothing special about this one, honestly. Just first and foremost, you don't really need to pull on this Sugo Fest, let's keep it real. Conserve your rainbow gems, conserve your rainbow tavern medals, in my opinion, for a future Sugo Fest, okay? Just want to get it out there. We also have information on the latest Super Evolution that's going to be debuting alongside BONNEY for the Kizuna Clash event. This new character with the 6+, honestly looks pretty solid, so we'll go ahead and talk about him as well. In regards to the Sugo Fest starts on the 15th, so keep that in mind. And look, yeah, the new BONNEY, she's guaranteed on the 25th multi, but like, let's be real, who's doing that? Don't do that. Let's have a look at what this BONNEY actually does. So this BONNEY is based on the BONNEY that left her village to go and find her father Kuma. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the anime, this is basically when BONNEY first left her island, right? So pretty cool, honestly. In terms of her tag, she's a BONNEY pirate, Paramecia type, and Egghead arc, okay? In terms of her captain ability, I guess she's a strength fighter free spirit, just in case if anyone was wondering. Her captain ability gives you max special ship at the start of the quest, strength and free spirit, 5.25 times attack, 5.75 with a recovery slot, 1.2 times HP, 1.3 times recovery, strength and recovery going to be beneficial, and then depending on your tags you get an additional ability. So you need 3 or more characters on the crew with BONNEY pirates or Egghead tag, and if you have that, it reduces burn duration by 6 turns and extend the duration of your attack and chain locks by 1 turn. Like, it's just an okay captain ability, like it's nothing really that crazy about it. The fact is we don't have many BONNEY pirates, if at all, aside from actual BONNEY characters, so basically you have to use Egghead focused characters, but using Egghead units that are either strength or free spirit isn't necessarily difficult to do, so it's fine. So captain ability, honestly, like, I'm not that, it's not all that, it's really not. She does have a super type, and the super type, actually, a little bit of a change of pace. You only need one of the following units to actually activate it, so you just need any one of the Vegapunks, basically. Bartholomew Kuma also counts. Borsalino and Sentomaru also count for this. So that can make things a little challenging, trying to use one of these units whilst also keeping in mind it has to be a free spirit unit or a strength unit. So that could be a little challenging, I think. And the effect itself here does give you a full board of recovery slots, and it also enhances the multiplier of the recovery slots for 3 turns, making them 2.75 times, which makes recovery slots stronger than a Wano slot for those 3 turns, which is honestly pretty good. Like, super type specials that have the ability to generate a full board of orbs for you is never a bad thing. So I will say, I will concede that her super type ability actually not terrible, not awful. In terms of her special ability, lots to go through here. So first of all, 7-turn removal of damage threshold, and then it removes 4 turns of these debuffs. Now, if you don't know what these specific debuffs are, these are the ones where if you heal and you take damage instead, or if you consume a recovery slot and you take damage instead. It removes both of those effects by 4 turns, and it also allows your crew to perform super tandem with recovery slots for 1 turn. If you have a strength captain, it reduces damage reduction from certain slots on the enemy by 3 turns, and if you have an attack boost and a chain lock when you launch the special, it will give free spirit characters a 1.75 times advantageous class effect. So that effect isn't going to come into play that much, but it could be something to take note of in the future. And also applies a free spirit territory. So again, if you're running like mono free spirit against an enemy that is weak to free spirit, then this is actually a very, very good special, which gives you a very sizable amount of damage. The other thing to note is that free spirit territories are very easy to fulfill because we have Zoro and Sanji, which can transform everybody on the crew into free spirit, which allows you to get the full damage from these territory abilities. Furthermore, it then also says, after all of that has happened, it will still give you a 3 times attack boost to free spirit and fighter characters for 2 turns. Now, I have a little bit of an issue with this one because her captain ability boosts strength and free spirit, but her special ability boosts free spirit and fighters, meaning that if you have to run a character to trigger the EX super or the super type of Bonnie, but it's not a free spirit character, then the character just doesn't receive this attack boost at all. I don't really understand the design philosophy behind that one. It should have just been boost strength and free spirit by 3 times for 2 turns. Very strange decision about that. In terms of her crewmate abilities here, nothing really too crazy. Makes crew's recovery slots matching, and if you got that fighter or free spirit territory, you get additional buffs. And if you tap on this character with the recovery slot, you get some resistance down. Now, in terms of her potential abilities, she does have the ship bind removal by 5 turns, which is making a lot of sense because she has the ability to give it max special. She also has hunger, which makes a lot of sense as well, which removes it by 3, and she does have a super tandem. Now, the super tandem, interestingly enough, is a 1-tap super tandem. So you just need one of the characters from her super type requirement, plus Bonnie, you can trigger the super tandem. Remember, in her special, she has the ability to make super tandems trigger via recovery slots, so it makes sense. The effect itself, unfortunately, doesn't do a whole lot. It's a 2 times attack boost to free spirit and fighter. Again, don't know why she buffs fighter there. And then also gives a final tap buff by plus 1000 to the final tap unit. Again, base attack boost memes, it is what it is. At least it's a 1-tap super tandem, meaning you can kind of easily trigger it. And again, it's an egghead unit that has a super tandem, which allows you to kind of potentially use some super tandem boosts in the future. Could be honestly pretty useful to have. Briefly, let's go over the Rumble stuff. Now, Bonnie is kind of focused around reducing the enemy CT of world government characters. So you see here, she gives strength characters 5 attack, 5 defense, and level 3 special CT. That's phenomenal. And then also gives world government enemies level 5 CT speed down. So if you're up against like that really annoying int team with potentially Figureland Garling, potentially J. Garcia Satin, against those types of units, it would be pretty good against. And then the special ability at a 30 CT targets 3 enemies with high CT for a 30% delay, and then your strength allies get 5 attack, and then world government enemies get a level 5 CT speed down, and then if you have Kuma or Ginny on your team, world government enemies get a further 10% CT delay. So the way that this would work is that you kind of want to build like a mono strength team to specifically go against world government characters, and the additional ability for having Kuma or Ginny on your team is pretty easily fulfilled considering Rumble Legend Kuma is a mainstay on strength Rumble team, so it honestly works out quite well. Everything else is kind of fine. She does remove special bind on herself, which allows her to kind of tackle J. Garcia Satin, which has the ability to special bind you, so it kind of makes all sense with how this character works. But overall, it's a very skippable legend, we can agree on that. There's also a brand new Vegapunk who's going to be the new Kizuna rare recruit for this batch. For his special ability, he does remove 6 turns of damage reduction, Rainbow Shield. He removes 6 turns of paralysis. He gets rid of poison. He gives you a chain boundary, which works well with Bonnie. And also changes your crews randomly into strength, quick, dex, int, or recovery. And then makes it impossible to change your crew slots into Psy or Tandem for 1 turn. We haven't seen this ability pop up that often. The last one I remember was the 10th anniversary Luffy, who made it so that like your int slots basically couldn't be changed unless if you wanted a tandem slot. So yeah, it's a very weird ability. And then if you got a full team of free spirit, you get free spirit resistance down, and if you have 2 or more scientists, you get minus 30% cerebral resistance. Like, it's fine, it's kind of like whatever, right? Like, who really cares? Any useful crewmate abilities here? Extra healing, I suppose. This character does have a super tandem boost, giving level 3 to Bonnie and scientist characters, and level 1 to Egghead, which I guess could be kind of useful, but it is what it is. I didn't mention Bonnie's support effect. She doesn't have a support effect. It's basically just a stat boost. So yeah, there you go. There's the 2 new characters coming out with Bonnie and also Vegapunk. But as I mentioned, there will be a new Super Evolution coming in this celebration. And this Super Evolution character is actually one that's pretty interesting. So Kizaru is going to be receiving this buff, and it's really cool because Kizaru, which arc was this one from? Does it actually mention? This was Marineford. And what they've done is they've super evolved him into this Kizaru, who is from the Egghead arc, which is really cool. And I think that he's got the drip. I mean, look at this guy. He's got the swaggy hat. He looking super fly. Super fly. So remember, this is a Rumble legend that is getting a 6+, so you can't expect too much, right? So the thing about him, of course, is with his 6+, he will have level limit break as well, and we'll have a look at his level limit break stuff because he actually looks pretty good. So first of which, you have the rumble ability. So your Dex teammates 7 speed, 7 defense, and quick enemies 8 attack down, 8 speed down. Not a bad rumble ability, but definitely like not amazing either. And then this rumble special, I couldn't believe what I was reading when I saw this rumble special, right? So just a little bit of a heads up. The rumble special for Kizaru is 17 CT. It's extremely low. Like, you will launch this guy multiple times per run, right? And this effect is extremely strong. Targets enemies in a large range for 3500 fixed damage. Your Dex teammates 6 defense, 6 attack, 6 speed, all for 20 seconds. And then if you have 8 Dex characters on your team, he targets 3 enemies with high special CT for a 20% delay. That is absurd. The fact that you have a 17 CT special that can 20% delay, give all of your Dex allies amazing buffs, and he also gives a bit of chip damage as well. Like, this character for a 20 cost unit in Pyre Rumble seems pretty insane to me. I think that this is going to be a character that you're going to want to look out for on Rumble teams looking forward, as long as they have the investments. If you don't have the investments, he's not going to have this crazy OP special ability. But in Rumble specifically, he seems actually pretty good. I think he's going to be seeing a little bit of play. Let's go through his actual abilities though. So remember, no super type, so you don't have to worry about that. But his captain ability here. So first of which, 2 turns of cooldown, strength, dex, and quick, 5 times attack, 1.3 HP. Boost their attack by 5.4 during the turns that his special ability has been launched. So a little bit of a buff when you launch the special. And then it says, if your crew uses a special to boost color affinity, you extend it by 2 turns and adds 0.25 to that buff. So if you have a 2 times color affinity special, it becomes a 2.25 naturally, which is pretty cool. Furthermore, tapping on this character with a strength dex or quick slot will give you a -7% fighter, shooter, and free spirit resistance down for 1 turn. That effect is kind of okay. It's just a little bit of additional damage, so I guess you can't complain too much. However, I do think that the most useful component of this character is not going to come from the captain. It's going to be coming from the special. So the special ability, there's a lot going on here. First of which, you get -1 turn of cooldown for the whole crew. Reduces special bind on the whole crew by 10 turns. If you have color affinity when you launch the special, strength, dex, and quick characters get 1250 base attack for 3 turns. And it extends the duration of your conditional boost by 2 turns. Like, that is kind of insane because he never did this beforehand. Like, before he was just chain boost, color affinity, special bind removal. That was basically what he was. So now he's like cooldown reduction, special bind removal, and then if you have a color affinity already, base attack boost, which lasts for 3 turns, extend conditional boost, which is extremely odd. I don't know why they added that into his kit, but he, for some reason, has the ability now to buff conditional boosts by 2 turns. That's really cool. Now, if you don't have a color affinity boost active, he will give you a 2.75 times conditional boost for 1 turn for strength dex quick, and if you use him as a captain, that it gets extended as well. Then after that, boost your chain by +1.6 for 3 turns, which is pretty reasonable. And then furthermore, if you have 3 or more navies or navy vice admirals, reduces pain duration by 5 turns, and reduces this character's own special charge time by 5 turns. The cooldown reduction from his special can only be launched once per quest, but -5 turns of cooldown is kind of interesting. And he's got a 13 turn cooldown here. I assume it's a 12 turn if you limit break expand him, so 5 turns of cooldown could be pretty useful. When I did my initial translations on the Japanese one, because the Japanese data download happened beforehand, I read it and I thought it was reduced the whole crew's cooldown by 5 turns. I was getting super excited if that was the case. Unfortunately, it is only just for himself, so the cooldown reduction I don't think is going to be that important. The ability to remove pain debuff though is pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty niche one to have, but the fact that he has the ability to do that is cool. You should definitely keep it on the back burner, keep it in the back of your mind, because it could become useful in the future, right? But honestly, there's a lot going on with his special. This is a very good 6+, I do think. Like, I don't think this is on the levels of, like, V3 Rayleigh Super Evolution, where the character is warped into, like, a whole different OP unit. This character is just a very solid Super Evolution. I think this is much better than the last few months' Super Evolutions, but it's nowhere near the heights of, you know, V3 Rayleigh, for example. But overall, I think he's going to be a pretty fun unit to play around with. I like the artwork change. I'm sure the special animation will look pretty cool too. But that's going to wrap it up for me for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.